I just really want to thank you for joining us today. So I think everyone knows me. Gena Netton, Allan's wife and life partner, teacher, teaching partner, soulmate. And I'm also glad to introduce Jerry Boning, who is going to be co-hosting with me today. And Jerry is a very dear friend of Allan and me for a long time. And I also wanted to introduce Ade Richardson. Ade is helping us with Zoom in the background. And maybe you can take us off Spotlight both and take us into gallery view. I just wanted to introduce Allan's daughters who are here. And yeah, maybe Jennifer, if you could wave.
Hello.
And Vena's there. Okay. And Jesse is is Allan's son, and he's not able to join us today. There's also Allan's sister-in-law who's here, Judy Minnick. In a wave, Judy, if you're here. And also just wanted to name Allan's grandchildren, 7 grandchildren. Alondra, Kailani, Isabella, Nevin, Tyler, Peyton, and Ian. And we have also people here from various communities. Trillium Awakening and some folks from this, Sai community and Sai Baba community and yeah, other kinds of communities that Allan knew people in different contexts. So I'm going to turn it over now to Jerry, who's going to just give us a little bit about logistics before we start.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. Nice to see everyone. A lot of familiar faces. Okay, just some logistics and guidelines. Please remain muted unless it's your turn to speak. We'll begin with a few people who are closest to Allan when we share, and they'll share for about 2 minutes each. After that, everyone else, when we go into the shares, will have up to a minute to do so. Now we'll ring a bell each and every time afterwards, just so we know boundaries of sharing time. If time allows, we'll allow or offer some extra time for that. If you need to leave early and want to share before you go, please send me a private Zoom chat with when you must leave. It's before 2, before 2:30, or before 3. So we just need to know those times so that we can get in a few other people in the middle. Please use after that, if you would like to share and do not need to leave early, please use the raise your hand feature on Zoom, and we'll call on people in order. We ask for patience and presence and compassion, as we may not be able to include everyone in the sharing. It depends on how much time we utilize with the celebration. And a reminder at the beginning, I'll remind you as we progress, at the beginning of your share, please say your name and how you know Allan. Briefly share a memory, story, or impression you have of him that really impacted you. And once again, listen for the bell. And regarding bio breaks, if you feel you need to, just do at your own will. And we will take one main one in the middle of our celebration and memorial. I think that's it. I think I've covered everything.
All right, Jerry's going to lead us now. You lead us in a meditation.
Yeah, let's take a few deep breaths together. Welcoming in Allan's presence. Breathing together, and we'll just drop into a nice embodied 1-minute meditation, welcoming Allan in. Okay, now we're going to do a group gaze together. Just connecting with each other in embodied presence, dropping in together, breathing, staying connected with oneself and the rest of the group. For a minute. Here we go. Thank you.
It's beautiful to see so many people here. Wow. It's 98, 99. Wow. Well, I just wanted to say a few words about, as we celebrate Allan today, I just want to invite us to honor, his entire human life. I mean, he had many saintly qualities, but he wasn't perfect, and he really struggled with being human. And so in Trillium Awakening, we have, we welcome it all. We include it all. So I just want to invite us to not just go on the glorifying Allan end of the spectrum, but really invite us to honor his entire human life. And I also want to just invite us to acknowledge that we can only ever see part of the whole. And I'm reminded of the story of the blindfolded people who were describing different parts of an elephant, one an ear, trunk, tail, foot, and no one saw the entire magnificent being. So I just want us to humbly acknowledge that we only saw part of Allan, our part in our context, and that he is a divine mystery ultimately, that none of us can totally fathom. But it'll be fun to hear about the different parts that we encountered. And I'm sure that we'll have a sweet time. I wanted to now introduce the video of Allan's life, and I just wanted to thank his daughters for helping me gather the photos for the video, and to Ade for pulling it all together in such a beautiful, artful way. And I did just want to say one thing about the video. At the end of the video, there is, Allan reads a poem, and it's a poem called "The Bed is Empty Now." And it's a poem that he wrote for my dad when he passed in 2021. And so now it's relevant for us and Allan. So I think that's it. Adi, I think you can go ahead and start the video. I should say it's 15 minutes. So just to give you that pre-warning.
We came from a higher frequency. We originated from pure spirit. There was a time when we were merged in spirit, the reality there would be there's no duality there. There's no polarity. There's oneness, and we know that oneness. We're merged in that oneness. There's never looking for love because it is always there all the time. Then when we transition into physical reality, that creates a shock, and that shock becomes foundational for our life. And then we develop all kinds of strategies. My strategy was to find my way back home.
Never had a question, never spoke a word. That's it.
I love you, honey. That was very sweet.
So we incarnated in order to say thank you to God. We're here to serve this, what we called creation.
When I was a boy each week, on Sunday we would go to church and pay attention to the priest. And he would read the holy word and consecrate the holy bread. And everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. And when I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in two, and Jesus made the water wine. And I remember feeling sad, miracles don't happen still, but now I can't keep track.
So along with that idea that I began at birth, pretty soon comes the idea I'm going to end. I will end at death. The greater truth is there's no beginning, there's no end to what we are in true nature. The essential self doesn't begin, doesn't end.
Anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. When holy water was rare at best, it barely wet my fingertips. Now I have to hold my breath like I'm swimming in a sea of air. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down, but I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Sabitur vareniam Argo devasyadin mai Yo yana prachodaya.
So to me, death is a mythology. It's a mythology. As I talked about before, we're conscious before conception, during conception, so on. We're conscious now. So there's no death. To me, the only possible death ever is when we take on the feeling sense, the gestalt of separation from God. That's the only death ever.
Argo devasyadin mai Yo yana prachodaya. broken arc of life. Lead me to your presence, pure and true, beyond the sky. Shines in every heart, supreme light of the divine. Abides in you. Lead me to the sacred flame of God, the golden sun.
Just take one moment to simply observe how profoundly orchestrated each and every particle of this vast cosmic appearance is. Simply be in utter awe of what is. Give love to that with full attention. And what I feel is this rich, intoxicating love for all beings. To have, it's like a magnificent, this solid creation with all the beings in it. How magnificent, how much. It's almost like I want to hug and kiss every living being with adoration, with appreciation. We begin and deepen our living in such a way that we are constantly offering a devotional expression to every human we encounter. Sarva Mangalam Mangale Shive Sarva Prasadike Sharanyam Triambakam Gauri Dharayami Namostute Dharayami Namostute Dharayami Namostute. Creativity is the play between the known and that which is not known, the known and the unknown. Creativity doesn't like to know what's next. Creativity likes to flutter about, it likes to roam, it likes to meander. It's the joy, it's the play. It was written on June 6, 2014, which surprised me.
By the famous Allan Morelock?
Was this when we were in Atlanta?
All the angels are saying, thank God there's only one of this guy. We all, long ago, we all said, we need an adventure. This fucking bliss and eternity is boring. Let's go have an adventure. Never, ever possible, remotely possible, some separate from the divine. No, just if you lived in a world where you've never seen the sun has never come up. But there's an ambient light that starts to show up. You might be curious about where's that light coming from? What is that? To me, this represents the stage we call spiritual seeking. Once that ambient light arises, definitely the sun's going to come. Can't be stopped. The bed is empty now. There are no more movements where they once prevailed. Tears are the only reality we know about this mystery. Some tears are sweet, some are not. These can't find their purpose. No more paint is appearing on this canvas, but it is alive for us who remain by the empty bed. And our tears are equally empty, except they keep giving life to what remains of the abandoned canvas. The memories paid for by the strokes of the artist now take on a new life watered by our tears. And we question only how our paintings will end and be watered with the life of unknowing. Are these for the one who left his canvas, or for those who seek the perfect color for the next stroke onto our canvas? The bed is empty now, and so are the images of how significant I seem to be in someone else's eyes. Let this emptiness remind me, for every day that remains, there's still a chance for my canvas to reveal to many their significance to me.
Tell me one of those good stories.
Well, let's see. It's upon a time there's a cloud up in the sky. Cloud says, I'm gonna go high. That's a good story. End of story. To be utterly free of any consideration other than loving is to prepare for absorption.
Jaya Govinda Hare
What a life. What a being. Thank you, Ade, so much for what a beautiful tribute to Allan, and such a gift to all of us. And I'd have to say, with Allan being such an expansive being, actually, one of my favorite parts of the video is the parts that show his playfulness and his silliness. And I mean, that was one of the ways that his love came through, was in, just his silly humor. And even until the end, he was cracking us up in his final days. Even 2 days before he passed, he was cracking jokes. And yeah, who does that? I mean, and at the same time, yeah, such a profound being. And we had a profound connection. It was very spiritual connection, soul connection. And we had amazing conversations every day, as you could probably imagine. And, we were here to guide each other. I mean, Amma brought us together. I can't go into this story. We don't have the time, but Amma, the hugging saint, is who drew us together. So our bond was very spiritual, and we were here to guide each other and, yeah, and be teaching partners and serve the world. But also there was something, everything was really quite on the spiritual plane, and there was something missing for me. And there was a vulnerable reciprocity, or reciprocal vulnerability, I guess, that was missing. Mutuality is what we call it in Trillium Awakening. And it was, I came to understand that it just wasn't possible for Allan. That's not what he was here to do. It was hard for him to be human. And it was, he had a very difficult childhood. And from my perception, built a wall around his heart, around anything personal where he could get hurt. And so he was, yeah, I mean, it was understandable, right? I totally understood it. But, he was really able to give, but it was really hard for him to receive and be reciprocal in vulnerability. And yeah, there's a reason why I'm sharing this. I'm going to share a little bit more later about a healing at the end. But obviously his heart was so open to the divine. Yeah. And it was like he was in ecstatic love affair with the divine and all of creation. And it wasn't just words on the video. It was real. And he, to me, was the embodiment of divine love. Even though he compartmentalized and there were things that he didn't want to see and he didn't want to look at and he didn't want to feel. He was the embodiment of divine love. And yeah, and he just transmitted that to everyone. And obviously in his teaching and in his healing. And yeah, I just loved, but it was actually everywhere. I loved watching him, like walking down the street, going to the grocery store. He'd just be so sweet and kind to people. He would just light them up. And it's like the purity of his heart was a magnet and pulled people out into this beautiful love, divine love, playful space. And it was like they didn't even know what was happening. It was like he loved to help people connect with their divinity. And yeah, the other thing is walking in nature and connecting with nature was also magical. And there's more I could share. There's stories I could share, but I want to make room for others here. And, I obviously feel a huge void in my life, hole in my heart. I do commune with him, with his soul. And I'm asking him to teach me how to love like you loved. I know I can't even come close, but yeah. So that's it for me for now. I'll come back later and share a little bit more. And I want to now invite Jennifer, Allan's eldest daughter, to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Gena. First of all, my name is Jennifer, and I'm Allan's first daughter. I have a brother and a sister, and my sister's here with us today, and Jesse couldn't unfortunately join us today. I just wanted to let you all know about last weekend. Together, Gena, I, my daughter, and a handful of other people went out to Heartwood Sanctuary. It's about 45 minutes from where Gena and I, the area where we live. It's a green burial site, and we brought my dad's cremains out there, or a section of them, because some of the cremains will go to the mountains and other special places. And we planted a dogwood tree. Ade, maybe you could share the photo of the tree. And we put a beautiful grave garden there in the natural burial site for in beautiful 70-degree autumn day with the leaves starting to change. It was just a really sweet, beautiful, just a perfect time together there. And we read some of his poems, and we did a little ceremony that we're going to do here today as well. And while this tree is up, because it is a dogwood tree, I'm going to read a poem that my dad wrote. This poem is called The Ground of Yes. Today I went for a walk in the field of ashes. The dogwood trees along the lawns leaned in a bit with the tips of their branches. Close to my cheek, they gave a gentle kiss. The air gave birth to birds in flight, the sidewalk firm below my feet. And I searched for the truth of where the land bears a name, given in a language known by those who have lived here for thousands of years, before we humans arrived. There I met an image in the mirror who said, my name is Yes. Yes, for me, she said, there is only yes. She is always just arriving and only learned this single word. May I keep my brow forever in the brown soil at her childlike feet, and allow the fire to burn just the way it always has. Allan Morelock, January 23rd, 2011. Thank you, Ade. You take the photo down. I might share a little more later, but I want to make sure we give space for other people gathered today. Thank you, everyone, for being here and honoring my dad and celebrating his life. We miss him a lot.
Thank you, Jennifer. All right, I think I'd like to invite Jerry to share. Our good friend Jerry.
Okay. Thank you, Gena. There's so much to say when it comes to Allan and his presence in my life and who he is and was and how he impacted me. And so I had to put it on paper. And I just like everyone to join me in holding space as I read this and the impact that he's had on me and who he is. When I think of Allan, I don't think of just a friend. I think of a mirror. Not a mirror that reflects appearances or personality, but a mirror that reflects the soul. Through Allan, I saw myself more clearly. He helped me remember who I truly was beneath the stories, all the fears, the roles that we all carry. With Allan, I felt known, I felt safe, I felt heard and deeply seen. Not for anything I did, but simply for who I am. There was something peaceful and sacred about Allan's presence. Being with him felt like my whole nervous system could breathe again. There was a stillness, a bliss, and a deep inner knowing that I am okay. Life is meaningful, love is real. He carried a wisdom that didn't come by forcing ideas, but through authenticity, gentleness, and honest curiosity. He never really tried to teach me, it was just his presence. Oh, excuse me. He carried a wisdom that didn't come by forcing ideas, but through his authenticity, gentleness, and honest curiosity. Through his presence, he taught. He didn't push, he just invited. He didn't tell you what to believe. He helped you remember what you already knew. His heart was enormous. His love of life was immense. He loved deeply and sincerely people, animals, laughter, nature, and just the mysterious unfolding of existence. His humor was its own kind of healing. He could make you laugh in a way that lifted your spirit, dissolved your defenses, and reminded you that joy is sacred medicine. With Allan, laughter and wisdom were never separate. They danced together. And he truly taught me how to laugh, as some of my deepest struggles, shadow, and just life. During a number of challenging times in my life, he didn't try to rescue me, fix me, or offer cliches. Instead, he offered presence, compassion. He always reminded me that I wasn't alone, and that even my hardest moments had meaning. That challenges could be spiritual initiations, not punishments. I never felt judged, only understood, held, and accepted. I'm forever grateful for Allan and that he was part of my journey in this lifetime. His presence changed me. His reflections awakened me at levels I didn't know was possible. I mean, I met him before I journeyed into my awakening.
Mm.
His love softened me.
Mm.
His wisdom will continue to guide me. Allan is not gone. He has simply gone ahead. His body may no longer be here, but his essence, his love, his imprint remain alive in everyone he touched. Allan, thank you for seeing me, hearing me, and reflecting me back to myself. Thank you for your compassion, your humor, your tenderness, and your truth. I will carry your light in my heart and honor you not only with these words, but with the way I choose to live. May your journey onward be peaceful, joyful, and free. And may we continue to feel you in silence, in love, and in the sacred spaces between worlds.
Yeah.
I just felt like I had to read that. I couldn't have gotten that all out just by speaking. And I am so grateful for Allan and who he was and still is. And,
So beautiful, Jerry.
thank you.
So eloquently written. Thank you. Yeah. Well, I think we have a few people who need to leave by 2, so we're gonna you want to call on them, Jerry, and then we'll come back to Somnath?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I've got a list of about 6 people here. So how about we start with Amira?
Hi, everyone. This is just so incredibly beautiful. Alan gave me so much, so much. And about a month before he passed, I was in a Friday morning meditation with him, and he said, "I love you all very much." And the way he said it, I knew he was leaving us. But his heart was so huge, and I just kept feeling like I want to give back. I want to give back, and I don't know how. And anyway, I'm really grateful, Gena. And anyway, I just want to say thank you for doing this because it's helping me heal my grief around Alan, who I loved dearly.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you, Amira. Thank you.
Okay. Next, John Marchand.
I met Alan about 23, 24 years ago at his first Waking Down weekend at Fred Kingsley's in New Jersey. And I felt an immediate connection with him. Where I really is a soul brother. We had very similar paths. and I fell in love with him immediately. He was kind enough to have a few waking down weekends in the Philadelphia area where he brought me in to teach. And I remember, we had this deep spiritual connection, but I really felt into his humanness. We like to discuss the stock market. We like to discuss, our physical work ethic. And he was really just a down to earth human being, not just a spiritual, amazing human, God-driven man. I would say my one word for him, he was a God man. He was just his heart was just so full, and just was a real privilege to know him and to connect with him. And I I know that we all miss him dearly. And thank you, Gena, for bringing us together today to celebrate Allan.
Yeah. Thank you, Sean.
Okay, Subhaga.
Oh, thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Gena. I was so moved by that slide presentation. I thought I knew what I was going to say, but suddenly that came up, and just seeing all those iterations of our beautiful Allan just really moved me to tears. I met Allan 15 years ago. He was my introduction to this work. He midwifed my awakening at Jerry's house on a day-long retreat, which was just an amazing experience. Um, he held for me the deepest, most wounded secret I had never spoken to another human being. And he really helped me to heal with that, helped me to be able to speak it and move forward from that point. And he also made a joke one time at my expense that really hurt my feelings. And we had to unpack that. And he was like, thank God I'm finally off the pedestal. And that was just so great. It was like moving from teacher, student, more to peer and peer, because I was, I think, a mentor at that point. And I don't know, he came to Philly, once or twice a month, and I would make him dinner. We'd go to Haddonfield and have fish and chips before the Haddonfield sitting. And he couldn't figure out how to get the ketchup to come out of the bottle. I mean, he was just hilarious all the time. And God, I just loved him so much. And I'm just grateful for everything he gave me, and to you guys for making this happen today. So thank you. Appreciate you all.
Thank you. Okay, Bob Epperly.
I met Allan about 12 years ago. Actually, he and I did not cross paths a lot after that. But today I'm thinking about contemplating how much of an impact he had on me in a very short time. And one of the points that came out in the video so beautifully was that it was his presence that made a difference. And it wasn't that he tried to teach me something, he led by example. And I was deeply moved. I met him the first time at a Waking Down event where I was brand new. And he gave me guidance right at that point that led me to stay in the program. And again, that was just with a few minutes of his time. And then later, I used to participate in some of his videos that he would do. I think one of them was simply gazing. sometimes meditation, always great impact. In fact, my wife became attracted to him as well and participated. So thank you, Gena and family, for letting us participate in this way today. And I do feel Allan's presence right now. Mm. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. I don't know if it's okay if you can't hear the bell. Just let me know. I might have to, after a minute, just softly come in and let you know. Okay, because we have a lot of people that want to share. I'm trying to manage that.
Yeah.
Okay. The next person I have on the list would be Patricia.
Hi, everyone. It's really, I'm quite grateful to be able to share a few words about beloved Allan. I've known Allan about 10 years, and for the last 5.5, we walked in spiritual community together in a small community called the We Wanting, where we speak, it's a spoken practice, and we honor the divinity within our humanity. And he was a steady presence on Wednesday evening, so I cherish those half-hour practice sessions that we had, many over the years. And there was always a sense of Allan fully showing up and perhaps not quite sure how to do that. And he just always stayed with the truth of who he was in the moment. I honor the way that he told us that his time was soon on this plane was coming to an end. He let us know when his last practice was, I imagine, so that he could fully embody the experience. And we've been so blessed to walk this journey with all of you through his transition. And we find that he just wafts into our practices spontaneously. He will always be with us, and always grateful that he chose to spend some of these last years of his showing his beauty with us. We love him and miss him.
Thank you, Patricia. Okay. I think someone in Rick. Is this Patricia and Rick or someone in Rick? I'm sorry, I didn't write that very clearly.
Can you hear?
Yes.
Okay, this is Paula and Rick.
Or Rick, sorry.
Thank you. This video was very moving. I met Allan through the Sai Baba community, and but I met him personally at an Amas retreat, and I came to him and I just hugged him and basically said that I know you, but you don't know who I am, and I want to translate your book. I'm from Colombia, so that's how we met. I'm very grateful for what you're doing. And he was such a good friend and a presence. And thanks to him, I met Rick. He invited us both to a webinar during COVID, and thanks to him, I have my spiritual partner, my husband and soulmate. So that's very important. But more than that, I think he's been always a presence in my life to show me how to be an embodied spiritual person. And
just a minute.
Thank you. I'm just lost for words.
Okay, it was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Gena.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay, Nima.
Oh gosh.
Hello. It's very moving. I I I just see myself, which is weird. Oh, okay. I feel a little shy, but I'll just say this quickly. I know, Allan, you're here, so I'm gonna talk to you directly. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while, and it's really good to be here with you and the celebration with all these people. You've always been a consummate matchmaker. And I met my husband Kyle during our gatherings with Gena and everyone at Trillium. So I miss you. And thank you all.
Thank you, Nima. Okay, next we have Juan.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, my name is Carlos. I met Allan when I was 22 years old. I knocked on his door here in New Jersey, Somerset County, and I started working for his company. And he was a really nice guy, very good mentor. A few years after I worked for him, I think I worked for him for at least 6, 7 years. He decided to retire, and I took over the business. And since that, I've been so grateful with Allan and Gena. Thank you so much. And I don't know, I just feel like he gave me a freedom and better life for me and my family. And since that, I've been taking care of his business and here in New Jersey, and his legacy is still gonna be here in Somerset County. His business name was Green. It stands for Allan Morelock. And, yeah, I just want to say thank you to Allan. I miss you, my friend. Thank you, Gena.
Thank you, Juan. Nagesh.
Sairam. Sairam, this is Nagesh Virupaksha. I met Allan. I know Allan from the 90s, and he was the embodiment of love. I couldn't see him after a while, after some time, but until I learned about his health journey. But I'm here to offer my gratitude to Allan, and I can never forget those times when I was with him, when during all those study circles at home. And I always used to, the family always used to ask me to sing this bhajan. Allan, I'm doing it for you now again. Jaya Jagadisha Hare, Jaya Govinda Hare, Nityananda Brahmananda, Jaya Gopala Hare. Wherever you are, you're in a much better place, Allan. And with all my heart, I offer my gratitude, and also from Puttaparthi, from all our family. Thank you once again. Thank you, Gena. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Nagesh. That means so
Sairam.
much. That means so
Sairam.
much. Can you hold just a moment? That means so much that you sang that you just sang that, because that's the chant that Allan would listen to every night. He listened to bhajans every night,
Yes.
and he listened to that one every single night.
Every time I come home to their house in Somerset, New Jersey, the entire family at the dinner table, they'll ask me to sing this bhajan, and then I cannot forget that. And he specially fed me with a rhubarb dish, which I'll never forget that. Thank you.
It was his
And
favorite bhajan.
thank you. He was a soulful soul that I cannot. Though he's in a much better place. He's transitioned. Life is one continuous journey until we merge in that one supreme. So there is only commas. There is no period. The period only comes only when we merge in that one supreme. Beings are many, but spirit is one. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Sairam. Sairam.
Yeah.
Okay, Raleigh from Sai Baba.
Namaste. This is Venkat representing Raleigh Sai Center. They say in Indian lore that if one is able to collect 4 people when one is ready to leave, that itself is a sign of goodness. I see so many people here trying to remember Allan in their life for the fullness of life he has had. In here in Raleigh Sai Center in Morrisville, when I have seen Allan a week after week come sit for bhajans and quietly leave, I did not realize the amount of spiritual elevation he has had. My interactions with him were very less, but I know him from earlier times when I saw him in Florida and also in New Jersey. When we came to know about the news of his passing, we've had 21 Gayatri chantings at the center, and then there are flowers offered to Swami on the picture, and it is a sign of show that he is there. He's always there, but it is a sign to show that the Bhagavan was there to offer, to receive the chantings that we did for Allan. I have those flowers still with me. If the family wants to know, I can bring them to them. Those flowers are a remembrance for us to say that when we are doing something for Swami and in remembrance of Allan, the flowers fell. And it is a show of presence of the Lord. I wanted to share that with the family. I'm very grateful that we are able to meet here. Thanks to the family.
Yeah.
Sairam.
Thank you. I'd be happy to receive those flowers.
Thank you. I will do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Dorian.
I don't even know what I want to say. I just wanted to say something. Allan is such a beautiful soul and spirit. Several people have spoken of, his very down to earth nature as well. And I just was so appreciating earlier today how much he embodied the fullness of the full range of it, like that hit, like just his human, unique quirkiness, and that just being all of who he was. And it let me know that God loves all of it, like all of the unique intricacies of who we are. And I'm just really grateful to be here with all of you. And thank you so much, Gena, for putting this together, sweetie. And I love you. And I'm sorry for the loss of his embodiment here with you.
Thank you.
Okay, next.
All right. I think, Jerry, I think we should move to some other folks and then we can come back.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. I'd like to invite Samnath Mitra. Samnath is Allan's very dear friend, longtime fellow Sai devotee, and I'd like to invite him to share next.
Thank you, Gena, for putting this program together. Allan, I think I met Allan in 1991, and we were not social friends. We were what they call, we were guru brothers. We had the same guru. So me and Allan, we met and we talked for hours. And we would go to restaurants or go to a lake and sit there and talk for hours. So I cannot, I don't have time to say we had many mystical experiences together. For example, Sai Baba would come to me in a dream and show something that I would not understand, and Allan would be in that dream and Allan would understand. And it was also vice versa. So I don't think we have time to go through some of those. But one thing that I learned from Allan, and I don't think, and I also experienced it personally. Allan always talked about consciousness. In fact, I don't know. A big portion of his philosophy was based on consciousness. So one of the things I saw in him is, and I also realize it myself, is consciousness is quantized. That means it's quantum, So it can be here and it can jump to a much higher level. And I saw that in Allan. Every once in a while, he would go to a higher state of consciousness and he would be a different man. And, I don't want to tell you all the details, but there are, especially when there was a crisis in his life, he moved to a higher level of consciousness. For example, when his his first wife passed away, he went into the state of consciousness where he felt no pain. The only thing that came out of his mouth was pure wisdom. So I used to buy Chinese food and I would go sit by him because he had also, I think, broken his leg. And I would listen to him talk for hours. I didn't say anything. I just listened to him talk. He had no regret, no sorrow, nothing but wisdom came out of his mouth. Another time he fell down from a tree and he broke his back. So, and again, I felt he went into this high state of consciousness. He had no fear that he could be on a wheelchair for the rest of his life. He appeared to have no pain, but he only talked, this pure, spiritual wisdom. So I would again buy Chinese food, and go and, spend 2-3 hours with him. For example, to give you I don't have time to talk about all the things we talked about, but anyway, to give you an example, he said, I'm on a tree, there is no problem. I'm falling from the tree, there is no problem. I'm fallen on the ground and I think I've broken my back, there is no problem. Then comes, the medics, and then they start saying all these things that, I could be on a wheelchair for the rest of my life, and that's when the problem starts. So this is a kind of thinking that I don't think anybody would have thought other than Allan. I've never met somebody who can think like this, that Allan did. So he had the most esoteric, concepts that him and I discussed. Another thing about Allan is he was truly a man of nature, especially when you showed the video. It reminded me. So once him and I went out for lunch to one of these restaurants, we were sitting outside, and this big wasp, this big yellow wasp came and sat on his finger. And it was a pretty threatening, huge wasp. So it sat somewhere like this, and Allan didn't flinch. I said, Allan, that's kind of dangerous. It can, bite you. Allan said, well, I mean no harm to it, and the wasp means no harm to me. I took a video of that, and I sent it to so many of my friends and my relatives. I said, see, we talk about ahimsa or non-violence. Here's a man of non-violence. This huge wasp is there. He's not threatened by the wasp, and the wasp did not threaten him. So it was very unique interactions I had with Allan. I'll give you one mystical experience that I had with Allan. One day, I had this dream. Sai Baba used to come to us in dreams. Oh, if the time is over, it's fine. Is the time over?
Another few
right.
seconds. It's okay. We're just tight for a little time. Go ahead.
All right. So I'll just explain this dream. So I had this dream. Then Sai Baba came in my dream in the morning, and he gave me an alarm clock. And I put the alarm clock next to my bed, and I went to sleep. After a while, the alarm clock rang, and I woke up. And then a tall man came into my room whose face I could not see. And he said, can I have the alarm clock? I said, sure. I gave him the alarm clock. And that was the dream. In the morning, I went to work. Before going to work, I had a busy day. For whatever reason, I called Allan. I said, Allan, I had this strange dream. Can you interpret it? So he said, okay. And then after sometime around lunchtime, Allan calls me out and he said, yeah, I figured out the dream. So I said, what is the dream? He said, every now and then you have a spiritual experience, and it's like an alarm clock that wakes you up from ignorance. And then you shared that thing with me, and that wakes me up also. So the tall guy whose face you could not see in your dream is actually me, So when I say we were guru brothers, that's how connected we were. I cannot explain how connected me and Allan were when it came to Sai Baba and Amma and all these experiences that we had. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Samnath.
Okay, Ted.
Okay. Wow, I'm Ted Strauss, and somewhere around 25 years ago, I traveled to New Jersey to facilitate a Waking Down weekend at Fred Kingsbury's place, and Alan showed up in my group. And after listening to Alan start to speak on his turn, it was really obvious that the guy was very awake in consciousness. So I invited him to come all the way into his body so that he could help us awaken others. He paused for a moment, he looked straight at me, and he said, "I'll be damned if I'm going to be awakened by a Jewish nerd from New Jersey." So this guy was always very direct. You knew where he stood. So I turned to the next guy, the next participant next to him, and I said, "Would you come in to help him?" And he thought about that for a moment, and he said, "Yes, I'll do that." And he came to his second birth that day. Anyway, that's my story. Thanks for holding this. This has been beautiful.
Thank you, Ted. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to now ask Ade. Ade, could you share?
So I've been Alan's student for like 11 years. I miss him very much every day. And I feel so honored I was able to make that video with the help of Gena, Jennifer, and Vina. So I wrote a poem. I'm gonna read it. There were days when I'd come to you, head full of noise, pain too much to handle, lost with no way out. And then you'd step in. Your presence would fill the room and beyond. Suddenly, hope filled my being, reminded me of who I am. And the only lingering question was, where has this pain gone? My teacher is here, sitting in front of me, beside me, above and below me. My teacher resides in my heart. My teacher never ends, nor ever starts. His voice vibrates in my soul today, remembering those times when he'd say, "Hey, Ade, what's going on in your world?" Slow and measured, or direct and fierce, my teacher's love knew what was needed. So here I am on the other side of this life, in the uncertainty of life. You jumped in with your heart wide open. What a privilege to feel your love, and how it helped me learn to love myself. Your compassion became mine too. Your curiosity reminds me to play. I want to call you, but the instrument has changed. I want to see you, but these eyes can't find a way. I want to hear you, but these ears can't hear your voice. But now I'm learning that you are seen in the home of my heart. You are heard in the music of my kids playing, and you are seen in the birds soaring high in the sky. Now you are everywhere. Now you are everything, my teacher. Thank you.
Thank you, Ade. That was so beautiful. Yeah. Guess we can. I think I'll do my second share here, Jerry.
Right.
All right. Here we go. Well, I just wanted to share some perceptions that I have about Alan's death, his transition. In my perception, his transition was a profound healing for him. You know, Ted, you were talking about embodiment and inviting Allan into his body. That was my role in his life, was to help him with embodiment and land in his humanity. And it was so hard for him to be human. And so my sense is that the pain actually brought him into his body like I had never felt him before. And he was cherishing his body and touching himself. And he was, you know, receiving touch and wanting touch and asking for, you know, to be bathed and sprinkling water over his body. And it was just so sweet. He was like a child, just coming into his body for the first time. And he was receiving physical nurturing from us and touch he had never received as a child. And he had to be dependent on us. Now, this is something that Allan did not like to be dependent. He was very independent. So he had to be dependent on us. And his physical vulnerability broke down that wall that I was talking about earlier around his heart. So he was not only physically vulnerable, but emotionally vulnerable for the first time. Really emotionally vulnerable with me, trusting me, and being able to be in a reciprocal connection that I had never experienced before. And about a week before he passed away, he said, or he transitioned, I'm sorry, this is the language I choose to use. He said, this time is so hard and painful, but it's also so beautiful because there's so much love flowing here. And indeed, there was so much love. And, you know, it was interesting because he wasn't clamoring to get out of here. He wasn't actually doing that. I was so shocked. He didn't want to just fly home. He was wanting extra time. He wanted the IV nutrition so he could have a little more time here. So I said, honey, if you get the extra time, what are you going to do with it? And he said, I just want to love more like this. So yeah, for me, it was a profound healing. And I told Jen and Vina that we were getting a taste of the humanity that Allan envisioned would be coming soon. And he really wanted to be here for a world where everyone was caring for each other in love. And he got to experience that through our caring for him in this loving container embrace for his healing and transition. So, yeah, brought into his body, brought into his humanity like he had never been before that I experienced, and receiving and reciprocating a love that was not only divine, he wasn't just giving, he was receiving and reciprocating love that was both divine and vulnerably personal. So for me, it was the most profound healing. And it was such a gift for him. My sense is, yes, he came here to be the embodiment of the divine and all the beautiful things he came here to do. But I believe he came here to experience that healing death, and that I was a part of his life to help him get there. So I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy for him that he's free and he's home and he gets to help us from the other side. And thank you. It was really important for me to share this to y'all. I appreciate you receiving.
Yeah, let's just sit with Gena for a moment.
Is a gift for all of us and all humanity. Really. His profound work. All of it, including his death. Yeah. So, thank you all. I just want to ask Mike Josephson, our very dear friend,
Hi.
to play a song.
This is a song that includes the Mahamrityanjaya chant, as well as some words by an artist called Murray Kyle. And Allan really liked when I shared the song. Here we return into nothing, where everything is born. Shiva Shankara, dissolving the form. You step into the unknown, surrender to the all, then gather up your swords of truth, my friend, for now we have heard the call. Rewrite the story here in the now. Carry ancient wisdom, humble we bow. This time our death is love being born. Unfold like the dawn, light up my heart with the warmth of the fire. Circle around Om Namah Shivaya. Embers of truth are being recovered to wrap up the world in the arms of the beloved soul. Let my fears burn and walls crumble down. Waters of love free flowing all around. The river will take us, trust in the flow. Deep in the waters, this is where we grow. Where we come to know, with all our shadow and light, learning as we go on this journey home. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivaranam Urva Rukamiva Bandhana Mrityo Mukshya Amrita Swaha.
Oh, your story, Gena, was very moving up to the end, and I'm just so grateful for you for being there for him and him being there and sharing those important moments with you, and that the love was reciprocal, that you felt it, and so grateful that you gave him that opportunity to feel what he'd given to so many other people. Thank you, Gena. Thank you, Allan.
Thank you, Merit.
Yeah, I met Allan in 2017, and someone earlier said there's a quantum aspect to Allan, and part of the reason I wanted to come here was to presence that as well. Because although I met him in 2017, I had a dream during COVID that kind of indicated to me that he was guiding me a lot earlier than that. And I'm really grateful to be here and to be able to share that. So, Colin wanted to be here tonight, but he wasn't able to make it. We're in France, so the time zone's a little later for us, and we had some other things going on. But just so happy to see some old teachers that I feel old in the sense that I haven't seen them for a while, and I feel really blessed that Allan had such a big impact on so many people, and he continues to. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, Naman.
Hey, I'm sorry. Video doesn't want to work for me at the moment. But I also wrote something the way you did, Jerry, just because I didn't know exactly what I was going to say. So I'm just going to read that. I love and miss Allan. I know he's always been tall, but to me, he's like a great ancient tree, rich with love, wisdom, and playfulness. I remember in the beginning when my being was hardened by trauma, and the survival energy for me came in the form of logic. Allan challenged my defenses with logic I couldn't follow. But love, mystery, and unspoken revelations pierced my being and found their way into my heart. That and Gena's presence in my life led me to my own series of shifts. From then on, Allan's words were only nectar for my spirit. He could have been speaking another language. I didn't care. Something was being nourished in his presence, and no one in my life can understand the gift he's given me. And that's my share.
Thank you. Thank you, Naman. It's beautiful. All right. Well, I'm going to invite Mike to come back and read a poem of one of Allan's poems called In Color.
The flames were not merely yellow, crimson, or even shiny gold. Blue they lived before my astonished eyes, eternal sky blue, burning with more being, more life presence than even I. Enchanted sat my empty form, feeding log after log into the beauty, feeling its warmth. I'd only come to escape the dark and cold. Not having expected such rapture, how could I then allow that sweet respite to leave me again? Intoxicated I must have been. With no more logs, and no willingness to again separate from beauty, I did what only men maddened by love dare. I threw myself into the fire.
Well, there you have it. Allan was definitely an ecstatic. Thank you, Mike. I'd like to call on James next. To invite him to share.
Dear Allan, we came into each other's lives fairly late, having only known each other since 2019. I can hear you now saying something like, time doesn't exist anyway, but 6 years out of 76 feels like a very short period of time to me. We first met at a Trillium sitting in South New Jersey in June of 2019, and I remember that sitting fell on the first anniversary of my father's death. And I believe that was part of my very first share. This was a time of transition for me and the beginning steps of a new spiritual direction, one that went far more inwards than outwards, and was and has been a process of simplicity and letting go, rather than one of rituals, practices, or achieving some codified knowledge. Our friendship developed slowly, and I couldn't quite figure you out. I know that I'm not the only one who feels that they have never met anyone quite like you. Your voice was quiet. Your conversations did not feed into or amplify whatever ego story I was acting out of at any given time. And your responses to whatever I was sharing ranged from not responding at all to something so bizarrely esoteric my ego was just left saying, huh? Over time, I felt my ego-based attachment stories falling away in your company. Because none of the tactics that I had created over a lifetime, tactics that said this is how to make a friend, were applicable to you or with you. And that was part of, for me, your genius. You allowed space to develop for us and for my old attachment stories to fade away, and you gave them no food to be reinforced. And in the absence of those stories, something truly beautiful began to emerge. I had heard your words countless times at monthly sittings, retreats, and casual time together at your house or my apartment. Your words that said, you are perfect and loved just as you are. I could hear you chuckling as you'd say, how could you be any more or less than you are at this moment? It's impossible. Or you don't have to be or do anything, you already are. And over time, the consistency of the message you were transmitting to me became believable. You became one of the first and few people in my life that I could just be with. Silences were not awkward, but welcome relief. You taught me how to embrace the ordinary aspects of life as gifts to be cherished. And over time, my desire to be seeking out ecstatic experiences or some grandiose feelings of enlightenment subsided and cooled into a turning towards the simple, the here, the unextraordinary. I never would have guessed that this was precisely what my soul was needing, and your quiet, calming presence allowed me to explore this newer way of being. Some of my most cherished memories of you are really the ordinary times we spent together. The times you and Gena would come to my apartment and we'd order lunch and just be in each other's company. Visiting you in Durham and spending an afternoon at Dew Gardens and an evening just sitting in your living room and you feeling moved to share an experience from your life and I feeling so honored to be allowed to share in your memories. You were genuinely interested in me and in all of the people that you knew and cared about what we felt, what we were thinking, what was being healed, what was being learned. You held space for it all impeccably. And so I am here to thank you, Allan, for the 6 years of friendship, teachings, and mentorship that you shared with me. To thank you for being exactly who you are, how you are. To thank you for being unconditionally generous with your spirit and for seeing me and all who you knew exactly as we are. Thank you for being a manifestation of love that you are. And as I say this, I remember the times I or someone at a sitting or retreat would thank you for what you were doing for us. And you chuckle and say, I don't know what this is or what we're doing, but I'm glad to hear it's working. Ironically, your humbleness, I feel, was your superpower.
Mm.
Your loving friend, James.
Thank you, James. Mm. Well, maybe let's take, I'm not sure I've met you, Isaac, but maybe let's, if you could say how you know Allan and yeah.
Hi. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for putting on this very moving remembrance of Allan. I first met Allan many, many years ago through his lawn service here in New Jersey, Amagreen. And the things that impressed me most about Allan was the fact that he was an expert in terms of what he did, that he had a love of nature and lawn care, and he was a very honest and forthright individual. So that's how our paths initially crossed. And it was only after talking to Juan Carlos after Allan's retirement that I learned of his spiritual path. And our paths are crossing again in that regard, in that I've been practicing yoga for the past 12 to 13 years, teaching meditation on a weekly basis. And so there we go again. Our paths are crossing once again. And I just thank everyone for the remembrances of Allan today. And God bless everyone.
Thank you, Isaac. Now I invite Van to share.
All right, thank you, Gena. I met Allan in the, I believe, early 2000s. I was a teacher for him in the Waking Down in mutuality work. And then later, Allan became a teacher, and then we were teaching colleagues in Trillium Awakening. So I'm going to share about my first meeting with Allan. We were roommates in a cabin in Nevada City. I believe it was in the early 2000s, and I was going to be teaching part-time at a post-awakening workshop at Ted and Hillary's, and he was attending. So we're roommates in this cabin at nighttime. I'm meeting him for the first time, and I feel his presence. So we start talking, and I got to share about my devotional nature. I'm very devotionally oriented towards the Divine Mother in the broadest sense. And I didn't have a lot of people to talk about that with. And so I shared this with Allan and found out he's into the Divine Mother too. And I sensed his deep soul presence. And I had studied the Michael teaching, which talks about soul evolution. And I was going, whoa, this is a very old soul here. And I was feeling that, and also devotional. And so we were sharing about our devotional nature towards Divine Mother. And I remember he said more than once during our evening together there before we retired, he said, Jai Mahadevi. And that means hail, Divine Mother, Sanskrit. Jai Mahadevi. And I felt his devotional transmission of love in that, and his ecstatic nature. And I was touched and moved by that. And so his presence was teaching for me, and that deep soul presence, I would feel that and soak it in and deepen in that. He is to me, Allan is a ancient soul and a great soul. And thank you very much for your work here, Allan, and you continue onwards.
Thank you, Van. So I think, Jerry, we can go to just inviting anybody who wants to share to raise their hand.
Okay, I see Philip with a raised hand.
Hi, everyone. I know Allan as the father of my close friend and neighbor, Jennifer. And so I only got to meet Allan a few times, but just wanted to say thank you all for putting this together. It's a nice remembrance of him and to get to know him a little bit more. Allan and I both shared a really deep love and appreciation of nature, and think about connecting with him on that way. And in a little while, I'm going to go take a walk to enjoy this beautiful fall day and appreciate nature once again that way. So I'll be thinking of him. That's all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Herb.
So I first was aware of Allan at a weekend workshop in the Yuba River area of Muffy's workshop. And we didn't really talk and connect, but he had long hair and a ponytail. And since I at one time had long hair and a ponytail, it kind of stood out in my mind. We first really connected doing his Friday Zoom meditations. And what I really appreciate during that time was that he acknowledged my cat as being a part of it, which she was. Well, I'm glad to get this over with because it just keeps running through my bad name what I'm going to be saying. So I have a very short poem that I wrote that it kind of feels right. In my morning tears, and I did cry today, I taste the salt sea. And I guess I'll close with a Mongolian tonal chant. I got to scare myself to feel fully alive. Whoops, got to go on to original sounds for musicians if you want all the overtones. Oh, thank you, Gena. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Herb. Hi, Samuel and Linda. You're on, there you go.
Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Hey there. So you're unmuted, I think, yes. Wow, what an occasion. Thank you so much, everybody. Gena, thank you especially for sharing those details of Allan's completion while here. It just blows us both away. I don't remember when I first met Allan. I remember the impression he made. I started the Waking Down of Mutuality work, and I had already observed it was very rare for someone of great spiritual eminence to come into this kind of vulnerable embodiment. And I used to tease Allan in the early years that he was born like a half a foot to a foot taller than most of the rest of us, so that his body could actually anchor the unfathomable heights of his soul nature. And so I'm just so moved by how his journey unfolded, and so grateful to everyone here. Linda and I feel the same, but it's such a marvelous completion for a wide-ranging community of us all.
Such a beautiful mystic heart and presence Allan has and had. And we bless you on your journey, Allan.
Yeah.
And thank you, Gena, and everyone who helped put this very special honoring and occasion together. It's just so moving. We're very grateful.
Thank you, Sandy and Linda. Thank you.
Hey, Michael.
Yeah, hi, thank you. Gena and all others responsible, thank you very much for the opportunity for all of us to be here and honoring Allan. I met him a year ago, I think, and had the pleasure of being able to be in some of his and Gena's classes. So Allan, this is for you, a poem I wrote, An Open Heart. The echo of your mystery lingers in my heart, touching me lightly with your presence like a comforting breeze, reminding me of the capacity for ease. For your presence evoked the sacred origin from which we all emerge. The reservoir of your eyes revealed such vastness of compassion, offering their transmission of love, embracing both wound and wholeness, cherishing the paradox of human and divine. Your being created an open space, welcoming the simple and profound, the known and the unknown, the child and the elder, for both are messengers of wisdom. The serpent and the dove, for both possess medicine that can heal. You allowed us to burrow deep and to rise, knowing all occurrences are enigmatic threads weaving the tapestry of life. In your leaving, you arrived, moving through obscured realms of Bardo like salmon returning to their source of life in rivers of their birth, once again home. And I am left, savoring the blessing of your song, to drink the nectar of this transitory life and share its gifts with others. For nothing is ever truly lost, not even the journey of a single tear. And so the door of my heart opens yet again in this season of falling leaves, taking in their fleeting colors and the ache of your departure, along with the gift of wonder. Thank you, Allan.
Thank you, Michael. Hi, Sylvia.
Hello. I feel deeply blessed to be part of this beautiful, sacred, loving gathering today. And I knew Allan through Waking Down. He and I mentored for Ted and Hillary in Philadelphia, probably 2008. And that's when I also met Gena. And living on opposite coasts, I haven't spent a lot of time with Allan. But Gena and Allan spent a night at my house some years ago when they were out here. And
it was just so sweet. It was so easy to have both of them in my home, which I can't say about everyone because I live alone and I'm accustomed to having my own space, but they were both just so kind and gentle. And Allan did a little healing for me and just so kind and gentle. And I'm really grateful to have known him and very grateful to know and be with Gena.
Thank you, Sylvia. Eileen?
Yeah. Hi. Well, just beyond special to be here today in this way and holding Allan and Gena and all the many, many people that have loved him and been touched. I just have a couple stories. One is just the when we spent that time after the workshop in Hawaii, and you guys had gotten upgraded to a Mustang and for your rental car, and seeing Allan driving around in this black Mustang, and Gena and I dubbed him the Mustang Mystic. So that's what he was for the week, and he embraced it. He really did. It was really fun and funny. And then just this thing that he said at a workshop here in Olympia one time to a participant who was really sharing and struggling about, I believe, about parenting a teenager, but he universalized it. And he just looked at her so kindly and gently and said, you know, you can't get it right. There's this kind of big sigh and relief. And then he said, and you can't get it wrong. And it was like, ah. And then he said, and you can't get out of it. And the whole room just went nuts. And just the way he summed up the this essential rub. And it has been repeated many, many, many times in Olympia, in our community here, and echoed out beyond. So that's just one of many, many things. I'm just gonna come in here and tell another Maui story. I don't know that you know this, but so we would go after the workshop. We would go, oh, well, yeah, after the workshop was over, we would go to this beach every day. You know, it was whale season, right, when we were there. And we'd go to this beach every day, and Allan would always talk to nature, right? He's like, oh, hi, whale people. I'm so glad to see you. Thank you for doing your whale thing, coming down here to Maui, having your babies. And they waved their tails and their fins at him. And then like the day we were leaving is like, oh, I've got to go say goodbye to the whale people. So he's like, oh, bye, whale people. I'm gonna miss you. I love you. And then a bunch of them simultaneously did this wave. It was just so sweet. And it was just, just the way that nature responded to him was just like, he was so in tune and he just magnetized these magical nature experiences. I just had to share that after you were sharing about the Mustang in Maui.
So much, Gena.
Thank you. Anyone else like to share?
Hi, Tom.
I'll tell a quick story. Allan is always my favorite teacher. If I'll tell two stories. I'll tell two stories. First story, I'll make it quick. He was teaching one time in New York City, and I went out there to see him. And the stuff he shared that night was a little out there. Sometimes he could get a little out there and say something that sounds kind of woo-woo, you know. And I got really annoyed with him that night. And I didn't have an outburst or anything, but I just kind of felt really annoyed with him about that. And he sent me an email a day or two later, a few days later, uh, sort of to just to sort of bridge that annoyance, I guess. Um, but I'm just saying this because we all know about his high spiritual aspect, but this is also, I mean, kind of a human thing, I guess, a little lower on the scale. It was my annoyance, but he could hold that and accept it and be loving and all that, despite whatever anybody was carrying, you know. My other story was I went to the Sacred Summer celebration several years ago, maybe 2014, and I went there because I had sort of a crisis going on. I had some sort of spiritual crisis. I didn't really know what was going on, and there were a lot of great teachers, and we had to decide who our teacher group was going to be. And of course, I wanted to maybe go with Allan, but there are all these new other people I didn't know there. It's a good opportunity to meet somebody new or meet some great teachers. And I was undecided, so they had the teachers, they had a afternoon where the teachers would speak for a few minutes about their style or whatever, so that to help everybody decide who they want to go with or make a choice. And anyway, I'll make this real fast. So Allan said while he was speaking for like 2 minutes, he said that when he teaches, he likes to reach in and meet the person where they are. And as he said that, I just felt inside my heart him reaching in and holding my heart, and just a little twitch there, a little twist. And it's like, oh, okay, I have to go with Allan this weekend. And that's what I did, and no regrets, as always.
Thanks, Tom. Just want to invite Henry. Henry Wolf.
I don't have much to say other than, but I wanted to, say something. So the thank you, for Gena and everyone else who put this together, and uh, just Allan, thank you so much for everything. I mean, Allan, it was the just has been so important to me, and I've known him. I met Allan and Gena probably about 13, 14 years ago, and you know we went to sittings at their house because it was very close to to my house, and I was just getting into um into spiritual seeking, I guess, back then, and I just was really unbelievably lucky uh that their house in New Jersey was in the next town over from mine. So and yeah, I mean, just Allan is just as it was just probably the most trust I don't know, trustworthy. I don't know if that's the best, but but I guess that's as good word as any. He just trustworthy person I knew, that I met. I mean, I know a lot of people who are very honest, but I just felt like more than anybody, when we'd be in sessions and stuff, he there was not a dishonest bone in his body or a duplicitous bone, and he which was helpful to me because I was much come from a much more material materialistic, I guess, background. And so some of the more esoteric things he would talk about coming from someone else, I would you know would just wouldn't land the same, and the a lot of the times I had sessions with him, it was to it touched upon problems that that I was experiencing with raising children and with work, and he was able to talk to me as like a real mentor, as somebody who himself had been through that, and anyway, just so much, such a loving, uh, unconditionally loving teacher, and yeah, that's really it. I mean, I just I yeah, thank you, and thank you, Gina, for sharing the that about his healing. And I'm glad to hear that, and it was good to hear it. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, I think what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a pause on sharing for a moment, and we're going to do a ceremony. And this ceremony was actually written by Allan. And I found it after his transition, and I was looking for poetry in his computer, and I found this document called Dying Ceremony. And turns out he wrote this when my dad was passing in 2021. And he never told me about it, or maybe he did, but I just didn't remember, and certainly didn't think about it, in his end of life process. So what we've done is we've kind of reformulated it for this purpose. And so there are 4 elements that will be, the ceremony revolves around 4 elements. I'll be doing the first 2, air and earth. Okay. And so what we'll first ask is, as my part of the ceremony, is to ask you to type in the chat what qualities you admired about Allan. What qualities you admired about Allan. So let's just quickly write as many qualities about Allan as you can in the chat. Well, we could probably go on and on forever, it seems. I'm just going to name them. Oh my goodness, so many. I can't believe how many there are here. Maybe I can't read them all. Maybe we just all glance through them. Oh my gosh, I can't believe how many there are here. I don't think I can read through all these. So beautiful. Yeah. Wow. Unbelievable. All the list. So yeah, just scrolling through the list of all of these qualities that one man embodied in this life. Yeah. And so what I'm going to do is, with these qualities, is I'm going to blow them into this stone. So I'm just going to invite you to energetically blow all of these qualities into the stone with me. Okay, here we go. So now we've bestowed these qualities into the stone, and what we'll do is we'll place this stone. This stone has actually been through 3 celebrations now. This is the third. So it's got lots of qualities that have been bestowed upon it. And we're going to place it in the burial area where you saw the photo that Jennifer showed earlier, where some of his ashes were buried. So, and this stone is then requested to share all of these qualities with all of the stones and thus all of life in this earth. So we're consciously leaving a record of Allan's qualities to benefit all life in this realm. Okay, aho. This is the stone, air, earth quality. And now we'll have fire. Jennifer.
Thank you, Gena. It's beautiful to see that stone getting all these blessings time after time, and it will sit on with the dogwood tree and my dad's ashes. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm gonna put something in the chat. Okay. And I'm gonna start the little fire section. So I'm gonna start by lighting this candle. We light this candle and offer to the fire element all of our regrets, guilt, shame, fears, sadness, anger, and worry, etc., and any of his that we carry. Now let's all of us say the following words of forgiveness. I am willing to forgive myself completely for any and all times that I knowingly or unknowingly hurt Allan. I also forgive Allan for any and all times that he knowingly or unknowingly hurt me. Together with the fire element, we relinquish offenses for all involved. And we can say the Ho'oponopono prayer together. It's in the chat. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Now we'll go to water element, Gena. And let's just say, Gena, we charged it. I'm sorry, we kind of screwed up there.
That's okay. So we now invite the element of water, and we'll say that the water was energetically charged by Mike's beautiful song that he sang earlier. So we offer into the water all of Allan's acts and words of love, compassion, support, nurturing, benevolence, kindness, gestures of goodwill and aid of any type to any form of life. The water will then be offered into the DNR canal, which I live right across the street from, with the intention that it carry that information to the ocean, where it will be held by all the water of earth. All these instances of goodwill all these instances of goodness will then be carried into the atmosphere to rain down on the heads of our children and grandchildren to inspire them to carry on with the noble intentions and benevolent acts for the evolution and highest good of all life. And just to add, so the first time we did this ceremony, my kids and I walked across the street and poured the water into the canal. And as we poured the water, a really small turtle went walking right through the area that we poured the water. And my kids and I were just like, oh, there it goes. It's definitely doing what it was intended to do. So I just wanted to share that little piece. So when this is over, we'll do the same with this water too. Thank you.
Thank you, Gena. Yeah, beautiful. So now I just want to invite Van to play some flute for us to kind of wrap up the ceremony that we just experienced. Beautiful. Thank you, Van. That was really beautiful. And I'm drawn right now. I wasn't planning on doing this right in this moment, but I'm going to. I'm drawn to just speak well, it's a chant from the Thich Nhat Hanh community. And rather than reading a poem from Allan, another poem, we've heard a lot of them. So this is just a short chant. I'm just going to speak it. It's called No Coming, No Going. No coming, no going. No after, no before. I hold you close to me, and I release you to be so free. Because I am in you, and you are in me. Because I am in you, and you are in me. Thank you. It just felt fitting to speak that after Van's playing in the ceremony. So I just want to say that, I'm happy to stay as long as you want to. Any more shares that anybody wants to, share? I'm game for, to hang out as long as we need to here. Just want everyone to feel complete, and they got to share what they wanted to share about Allan. Yeah, but just raise your hand. If there's anything you want to share, more you want to share, you share a second time as well. Yeah. Hi.
Sorry, my cat wants to be involved. Just a anecdote. You, Gena, and Allan were staying, Marlene, in my house after doing a workshop, and I guess there was a participant that was upsetting to Allan, and Allan had already gone upstairs to bed, and he came back down, and he was crying because it was so painful how that person was. I think energetically, not so much of what he said. And Gena, comforted Allan and told him to commune with Sai Baba. And it was just a very moving, well, it was moving, the interaction between the two of you, and just how sensitive Allan was to people's energy. So thank you for this beautiful ceremony.
Thank you, Haya. Thank you for sharing that memory. That's beautiful.
Hi. I just want to say what a beautiful group this is, to see everyone again after so many years. We saw Allan a long time ago in New York and then in New Jersey, and he's always been a guide, a teacher, and a lover. He's just full of love, and just realizing how special I felt, and everybody was special to him because he held us all fully, had complete presence with us, with me. So I just wanted to say thank you, Allan. I love you. You're in my heart, and I adore you. I'm so grateful to everything you've shared with me, and I just want to give my gratitude and recognition, full recognition in front of everybody. I love you. We love you, Allan, and our heart goes out to you on your next leg of this wonderful journey. Thank you for being that beautiful, heart-filled teacher.
Thank you, Anatol. Anybody else?
Well, I don't even know where to start, but I'll try to make it very brief. I have known Allan for, I don't know, 24 years or so. We've had quite a few exciting, ecstatic adventures up in the Catskills and Lake Ontario and New Jersey, and I never got down to North Carolina. I'm sorry I didn't. We always would see each other and Gena at Alma's gatherings every year in New York. That was the last time I saw him and her. And I want to mostly thank Gena and the other folks who helped put this incredible memorial together. It is so, excuse me, befitting of someone of his stature. his physical stature and his spiritual stature. I remember his daughter Jennifer and Allan took care of me after a fairly serious injury, back injury. We didn't know each other that well, but they allowed me to stay in their home and took care of me. And this was before Gena, beautiful Gena, came into the picture. And and Allan would talk to me while I was laying there in pain. And then he'd take me to the holistic doctor every day, 4 days a week. Okay. And the moral of the story is that he would say all these profound things, and he wasn't teaching at that time. And I would get kind of upset because I'd say, "What? What? How? I'm the only person hearing this, you know? Everyone should hear this, or as many as would like to." So thank you so much again, Gena. I just told my son, please do this for me someday. Thank you. I probably won't have as many people, though.
Thank you, Marie. Yeah. Samuel, Linda.
Yeah, thank you, Gena, for making time for us to say a little bit more or for other people to speak. Earlier, I just wanted to speak to essences and I didn't want to go on and on. Sure could. Allan is just such a remarkable event in nature. And want to thank Linda and I both want to thank you, Gena, as well as Allan, for hosting us in your home in New Jersey. It was such a safe space to come to.
Beautiful.
We felt so surrounded by love and care. And I just want to emphasize how honored I felt that Allan should be moved to come into this stream of work. It never failed to move me. And another thing that I was very grateful for was that he invited me to write the original foreword to his book, which just totally touched my heart. And I was happy to contribute that. So, his love, the fact that the man spent significant amounts of his life in trees. Talk about love of nature. And thank you also for that amazing slideshow that Ade put together. So just wanted to add a little bit more here of the appreciation.
Eileen?
Hi, this is Nandu, sitting by the side of Eileen. I want to share two impressions of Allan in my life. The first one, I did not know that it was Allan, but the impression was very powerful. Eileen had mentioned this, you can't get it right, you can't get it wrong, and you can't
Get out of it.
get out of it. And it's just the choicelessness of like all those you can'ts felt so freeing. And it's been really powerful almost the last entire 1 year, I must say, that I have randomly quoted that to myself in moments and imagined saying it at work. And and then only recently I learned that it was Allan. So it's extraordinarily liberating form of choicelessness. So I'm very grateful to Allan for that. The second impression I want to share is I met him once in a Zoom call with Gena. And then he just, I can't describe it, but he just felt so solid and strong and yet so extraordinarily malleable. And so I had grown up in a family where there was a lot of devotion, but also inquiry and art and service. But the devotion path in the tradition I came from was to me a little too overemphasized. So I kind of resisted it, and but somehow Allan uh, was sort of like this irresistible kind of devotion. I mean, he was like so defiantly devotional. And so it started working in me in some interesting ways. And I'm curious about that. So very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Nandu.
Right, Trisha.
Yeah, I think Samuel said it all when he said that Allan was a remarkable event in nature. And Gena, you described how your relationship sort of came to a completion towards the end of his life. And I really feel like this ceremony has done that for me and for the rest of us. Thank you.
Sheldon.
Hello. In a sitting about 18 years ago, my older son was about 9 months old and was not developing typically. And I was in a state of shock. And during Allan's share, he brought Elijah to the chair, grabbed him where he was, I forget where, and had him sit on his lap and gave let's just say, a spiritual explanation of what was happening with Elijah that I feel is holds true on a spiritual truth and has given me great peace now that Elijah's 18. He's got profound intellectual disability, but his description of Elijah and what was happening, I feel, was right on, and most importantly, totally changed my approach to Elijah and how I see his disability. It's given me great peace, and I will always remember Allan for that.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Sheldon.
Hey, Mike.
Hey. I guess 2019, 2018, I had just recently met Allan and Gena and started participating in Trillium sittings and found myself in a bad spot, the living situation in a lease that was about to end, when both of them opened up their home to me. And I lived with you guys for close to a year. And I'm still processing what that was for me, but I do feel like some profound reparenting happened. I can't put a label on my relationship with Allan or Gena, but they're parents, they're friends, they're teachers, so many different things. And I just want to share a quick memory. The first time Allan offered to do some work on me in a session, I'd been having sessions with Gena, never had one with Allan. And I don't even know what to say about it. Quite a few practices I was feeling in that moment were very odd. But I just wasn't all that open to it at the time. And then he started going through a process of removing curses from me, from my spirit, from my life. And I said, "What do you mean curses?" And he told me all the times where people in my life or around me had wished ill on me in some way, and the idea that those things can become embedded in your psyche was completely new to me. But I'm just noticing, and as I'm reflecting on Allan and thinking about all of this, that that moment helped change my inner dialogue to myself, helped me be a lot more kind to myself and a lot more kind to others. I think about times, especially when I'm driving and I'm feeling a bit of road rage, and my brain just wants to scream out at somebody on the road. I'm very quick to either stop myself from doing that or taking it back. I'm sorry. I love you. I wish you nothing but peace. And I have Allan to thank for that. So I love you, Gena. Thank you. And Jerry, thank you for hosting this.
Thank you, Mike.
In 2005, I attended my first Waking Down event. It was just an intro that Jean Marchand had come down to do, and I was so gung-ho about it that I managed to get special permission to attend the sitting that happened beforehand, even though they had rules at the time, and but I got to participate in that and the gazing. And I remember gazing with Allan, and someone here remarked about the reservoir in his eyes, and I remember feeling the relaxation in my being around being seen, and that need that I had my whole life around being seen, and just welcomed to be. And it welcomed me into this work and to really a transformation to coming home to who I really am. And I'm eternally grateful to Allan for that. And I just want to say thank you to him for that. And thank you so much, Gena, for sharing the beauty of the ending process for his embodiment. So tender and so beautiful, and I'm so grateful to hear that happened for him and for you. I remember a time when we were staying at the same place for the Fairfield retreat, and you shared with me then your relationship was earlier and newer, and the struggle that you were going through around Allan's desire to not be in his body and your fear that he might choose to exit. And I'm so glad that you had all the time that you did together, and so wonderful to hear that you had that precious time at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Doria.
Mhm.
Yeah, thanks. I want to say that I've had my camera off because I just had a tooth pulled and I'm feeling lousy, but I've been with you totally. And I want to say that 5 years ago, my mom passed away, and Alan and Gena did a healing where they were kind of letting mom go off and at the time I was real resistant. I didn't want to lose my mama, and so I was hanging on to her. But it caused a lot of problems for me for the last 5 years because there was this thing going on with my dead mother. Then we weren't letting each other go. And after a meditation, Alan, this was just like 2 weeks before he passed away, he said, "Stay on after. I want to do something with you." And he helped mom move on to a place where she could get the help she needed. Can't talk about it. Anyway, I am so grateful. Everything changed after that. My brother and I both rearranged our furniture. It was just like, I don't know, something just totally shifted. It was like mom really left and we were able to live our own lives. So it was a huge thing. And I'm forever grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Christine.
Yeah, I just so grateful for this, Gina, and loved your sharing at the end. I'm just so wonderful that it's so wonderful you had that experience with Alan. But I met Alan 10 years ago, I guess, when I was kind of early in waking down, and I just remember he led the small group that I was in at the deep dive. And I think I had met him at Sacred Summer prior to that, but that that small group was so powerful for me. It really kind of made me realize sort of how this work was kind of my main home. I've been exploring different things since, but I always kind of come back to Trillium. So I'm just always grateful for Alan and the space that he held in that group to really sort of create a safe space and let me be me, like some other people have said, to really be seen. And grateful for you and Alan for letting me stay at a retreat in Raleigh or in Durham not too long ago. But I'm just very grateful that he was a presence in my life. So thank you. And thank you for this, and to the family for doing this for all of us to let us share. Thank you.
While we're waiting to see if anybody else wants to share, I'm just wondering if Jennifer or Vina, you would be willing to talk about the two trees Alan saw at the end. Oh, I think you're muted, Jen. There you go.
Yeah. I missed what you said. Did we want to talk about?
I said I was just wondering if you might tell the story about the two trees that he saw at the end.
Yeah. That's where it's really sweet. My dad said that he saw two trees. It was just two trees. One was dead and one was alive. And so simple, but really says so much because while one tree is dead or dying, in our eyes, we're losing the physical Alan, but it was like his way of telling us that he's still there. He's still with us. There's still a life. There's still life in this other tree. And he also said, I'm in two realms. I was like, I bet you are, Dad. I bet you are. Yeah. I don't know, Vina, did you want to?
I think for me it was just like no matter what, that love that he shared with all of us is it's always there. It's always there, whether his physical body is here or not. That love never goes anywhere. It's always here with us.
And this is Miss Peyton.
Yeah, my little shadow follows everywhere I go.
Youngest grandchild.
Yep. I guess I would just like to add that it's very moving to hear everybody talk about my dad. Like, I don't know the majority of you, but the fact that he affected everybody's life so much is so powerful to sit and listen to everyone talk about him. I just wanted to say that's beautiful, and I didn't realize how many lives he actually touched. I knew it was a lot, but but hearing everybody talk, it's really quite something. So that's all.
And this is only a small portion of us.
Thank you, Gena.
Can I just add what honor it was to care for him in the end. It was a very difficult, as you might imagine. My dad was very clear that he wanted to be at home, that he didn't want to die, to transition, at a hospital or at the hospice. He definitely was tired of being at the hospital. He was so tired of that hospital, and I was too. Gina was as well. But it was also very hard to be at home, but it was a true gift to be there with him. I'm so grateful. My sister came down, Vina was down for a few weeks, and then Gina, the three of us were with him.
And Jerry. And
Jerry. Sorry, Jerry. And Jerry. Yeah. So many sweet moments and precious memories we built in those days that, yeah. And I ditto to what Vina said about meeting you, so many of you all today. So, yeah, some of you I know a few more than Vina does, I think, because I don't know the way things happened in life. But yeah, thank you all.
Those last few weeks when I was down there, do you remember when I lost the car keys?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll never forget that.
I mean, we couldn't find them. I felt so bad. I really thought I had lost them. I mean, we looked everywhere, all of us. And Allan got wind of it. I didn't want him to know what he overheard. And he just said, well, let me do a Gayatri around this. And now this is after a few hours of searching and looking. I just figured I was going to have to call a locksmith that comes to the house and takes care of the car, just gives a new key. And he, after he did whatever he did, sure enough, I think I was outside with Vina, and looking in the garbage pail at the bottom. I must have threw them in the garbage pail by mistake. The keys were at the bottom of the garbage pail, underneath all of the trimmings from a branch. I mean, this is after he did this, right? And we could not find it. No matter, I looked everywhere.
It was within like 5 to 10 minutes of him saying the Gayatri mantra, and then we found him.
It blew my mind.
And I was at the bank at the same time and was saying the Gayatri at the same time he was saying the Gayatri. It was, yeah, the Gayatri was definitely very important in our lives, that's for sure. We would, we would chant the Gayatri whenever we would travel somewhere, whenever we were looking for, guidance, trying to find something that was missing, or, yeah, so. Yeah, Anatole.
I just wanted to say thank you for doing this, Gena, and sharing all of this with us and letting us in at the end of his life. I think it was so sweet for us to see the process and see it unfold how it was unfolding, which was very beautiful. And we're very glad and honored to have be a part of that. And we're so grateful to both you and Allan for being there in our lives and throughout our lives, so generous to us. And I just want to share my first interaction with Allan was at the very first Sacred Summer celebration when I guess we had to qualify before we were able to go to the summer celebration. I never had any experience or interaction with Waking Down, and so it had to be this phone call to get past this person, this teacher who I didn't know, and it was very windy, and Allan couldn't hear me that well, and I couldn't hear him that well, and I guess at the end of the phone call, it was okay, she's okay. So travel down. But that was kind of a metaphor for how his teaching was with me. Because he would say things that I think was like way, way beyond my level that I could not process. But a month later, I would get it. And I would say, oh, that's what Allan meant. And so his teaching kept unfolding and in me. And I kept processing it more and more. He had like that effect where he would say something and then later on I would get it much, much later on, weeks, months. And I still look forward to the wisdom that he still has for me, for all of us. And I heard his voice in the video today, and it was nothing's changed. He's still there. He was still there, and it hits my heart in such a way, like Allan. Like, I feel like I can say my Allan because whenever I sat with him, I felt so special, and he, you hear everybody and it's like he had that impact with everybody. But, when I was there with him, it felt like I am so special to him. And he is, like Samuel said, an event. There's no one like him. And I'm honored to just to be in his presence and to have known him. And yeah, Gena, I love you. And we're here for you.
I love you. Thank you. I don't know if you guys saw Logan in there. I was holding Logan with Amma at Amma's.
Yeah. It's 5 months old at that time.
Hi, Marie.
See if I can unmute myself.
You got it. Yeah.
One time, Allan, one of the first encounters I had with him, he was talking about his childhood, and he said that it was so terrible. Even at the age of 30, his life had been he had been so abused and so poor, and was quite bereft about being here in this cruel world that he was experiencing, until I think it was his grandmother who died. And I believe they had her laid out in the living room, as would have been the custom and the necessity, probably in the Appalachian Hills where he grew up. And he said when he saw her and that she had passed, she had transitioned, he was so relieved because he said, oh, there's a way out. And then I believe he said something like, and from that moment on, I endeavored to find it. And I believe it allowed him to live as the person that we've all known to various degrees, who did have a hard time being human, who did really have a hard time, as many of us do, witnessing the abuses and horrors of this world, the slings and arrows, etc. So I thought that might be a story that's germane to this time. And this experience today is just remarkable. It's so intimate. It's Zoom. In many ways, it's more, to me, it's more personal, more intimate than almost any, most other venues. And so I'm so grateful for that, number one. And, I hope there's access to it. I hope there would be more opportunities for this, to continue to celebrate Allan's life and his effect on our lives, which have been many in my own. The trajectory of my life has, several of the important turns have had a lot to do with him and his wisdom. But now, you all moved, you all moved to North Carolina, and I haven't gotten to see you. And now he's here, he's always here when we connect with him. And even when we don't, I'm sure, even when we don't feel it, he's there all the time. So I hope I see you in the flesh soon, Gena. And thank you again. This is quite remarkable. Okay, time to cry.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, in response to what Marie said, is like at the end, he wasn't clamoring to get home. He wanted to stay. He was like landed in his humanity, and he wanted to stay a little longer to experience that love, that human, more personal love that he was really opened up to. So, yeah. But yes, his whole life, and you heard it in the video, his whole life, he was, determined to find his way home. I'm just going to read something Sanya wrote in the chat. I don't know if everyone's seen it, but for the recording, a phrase that comes up recently so deeply speaks of Allan, radiantly whole and perfectly flawed. That's true for all of us, but yeah. The video, to answer your question, Marie, in the chat, was put together by Ade. He pulled it together. He's a filmmaker.
Oh, I don't know. Can I hit share and share a picture from the Sacred Summer Celebration, Gena?
Let's see, you'd have to be made co-host. That's beautiful.
It's a very beautiful picture. I have to share. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you. Also want to read another thing that Saniel chatted and put in the chat. It's very beautiful. Gena, the story of Allan's final time here is far and away one of the most profound and moving testimonies to the power of mutuality ever, 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 ever. Thank you so much for sharing it with us all. Yeah. I just wanted to say, I don't know, are Jen and Vina still here? Maybe they popped off.
I'm still here, Gina. I think Jen may have had to leave. I know
Yeah,
she was
maybe
going.
Jen.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that I just wanted to share that when you know, the night Allan passed, or the night he transitioned, you know, I could feel we had a friend who came. I had a friend who came and did some body work with him to help him let go, release. And she left, and I could feel him like turning inward. And, you know, I knew that that meant that he was, you know, he was going to be transitioning at some point soon. And we all were, you know, saying our good nights to him and encouraging him to, you know, you need to, you can go, you don't have to stay here for us. And, you know, just go to the light, go to your home. And then Genevieve went up to bed, and I could feel his breathing change, and is significantly, and I could tell that the end was coming. So I went back up to get Jen and Vina, and Jen said, well, it seems like we should sing to him. And so I said, well, the only song that I could think of to sing would be the Gayatri mantra. So we sang the Gayatri to him 3 times. And Vina, you want to finish the story?
On literally as we were chanting the last shanti at the very, very end was you could see the pulse in his neck. And as we chanted the last shanti, it stopped. So I think that singing that was very, very profound for all of us, him included.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Helped him give the final let go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, you know, being such a profound and expansive being, you know, I was thinking there would be a flashy kind of exit. But it was actually really, really simple and quiet, still, not flashy at all. And yeah, I mean, obviously his presence filled the room, but it wasn't a flashy end. It was very quiet and sweet and yeah, simple. Yeah. Anybody else have any questions or anything you want to share?
This is Van. Just wonder when we're ready to end. If you feel so moved to sing the Gayatri.
Ah. Well, Mike, are you still here?
I'm here.
Oh, you want to do the Gayatri?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
So Allan was very encouraging towards my creativity, and we did a bunch of creative projects together. I just wanted to share one thing. This is Allan doing, he did healing work with a teddy bear. And it was very playful. I did this comedy sketch called Blue News, where I did these did voices with different stuffed animals. And I asked Allan if he would, you know, be on an episode, and he was 100% for it. And I don't think he realized that when he showed up on the camera, he wouldn't see me. So he was just met with this bear, Tony Bear, but without missing a beat, he just went into this breath work and teaching Tony Bear with the same compassion and love, and it was really beautiful because one of the things that he was so encouraging, and I had a very difficult childhood, and Allan knew that, and I shared a lot of the traumatic experiences, and had abandonment issues with my dad and everything, and he really was there and kind of filled these needs that this younger Ade didn't have, wasn't met growing up. And so, I just wanted to share that part of that memory with Allan. Thank you.
Thank you, Ade. That's really special. I love watching that video. So sweet.
We were just curious if you gave him the wine that he requested at the end. We've been wondering that for the last few weeks.
Yeah,
Gena can answer that question.
we were watching on the Karen Bridge and we were left in suspense because he said he requested it, but then we didn't. So it's been burning question for us for a while.
I did give him a little wine at the end. It was a tiny little bit, but it was definitely definitely a moment that will stay with me forever. The Peyton, what is it from that movie? What do they say? It's I forgot what it's called. It's a moment that will stay with me forever.
And I was freaking out.
Gena was not happy with us.
I was not happy. I'm like,
yeah,
but he's on pain medication. He can't take that.
That's great to hear.
But he did say it wasn't even that good because, his taste buds were so affected by the pain medication. Like it wasn't worth it, he said, or something like that.
Core memory. That's what I was trying to remember. It's definitely a core memory for me. That whole experience.
I could say something really fast. Um, yeah, I missed the vigil thing because of technical difficulties, and I guess I really haven't faced up to this or contemplated Alan's transition until coming here today. And I was surprised, just coming in and seeing his photo there brought me to tears. And I feel like this whole process of listening to people has sort of got me through this, and I'll be okay. Thank you.
That's beautiful to hear, Tom. Yeah. This completion was a healing process for you. Okay, so just one more story and a poem. I wasn't going to read this poem, but I guess I'm going to now because it's coming. Let's see. All right. So the where am I? I can find it. Okay. Let me see. All right. So Alan had a colostomy. And we were really debating what to do. It seemed like if we weren't going to have it, he was just going to have another episode and it could be more violent and he could have a perforation and, a very sudden death. And so, we contemplated it and, we decided, yeah, we're going to go ahead with the colostomy. And so the night before the operation, we were talking and we were just, like making peace with our decision. And I pick up my phone. And on my phone are all these flowers that were like animated and coming out on my phone. And it was like out of nowhere. And I was looking, is this new wallpaper? What is going on? And it was just like all these flowers that were, opening up on my phone. And I set my phone down and they were gone. And so I just had a sense that that was maybe some signal from Alan's soul to me. And then as I was looking through his poetry, I found this poem, and I'll just read now. It's called Flowers to Hold. And although it sounds like it's written to, a beloved, it's actually all of us were his beloved, really. So, okay, here we go. Hold your sweet kisses softly on your breath, my love, until we meet again in the unit of heart, which never could have parted. It is not yours or mine, it is its own. And if any claims be made, let it claim us. Not by or due to any thoughts or words or actions well intended shall we be united, and even less so by remorse and guilt. It is with each moment held preciously in the hands of gratitude that we enter into the portal of now, the only time ever known by love. Wait there for me, my love, dressed in the gentle flowers of your eyes, for mine will always be filled with tears to see myself in yours. Yeah. So I just want to welcome anybody else. Anything else, we can wrap it up now. That feels right. And I think it does. On that note. So thank you all for this really, really special time. It's healing for us all. And sending you off, Allan, and celebrating you in your fullness and effulgence and radiance and expansiveness. May you, get geared up for your next adventure. All right, folks, I think that does it. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you.
Thank you, Gena. Thank you, everybody. I love you.
Love you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Much
Love you,
love.
Gena. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, Gena.
Thank you.
Thank you, Allan.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So beautiful.
Bye. Thank you, Gena.
Okay.
Thank you, Allan.
Happy trails.
Happy trails. That's what one of his granddaughters said to him. Happy trails.